Well, good afternoon. It's November 8th here in my home state of Michigan. Not a better time to be in the tree. Yesterday we had a great encounter with a really nice buck. Unfortunately, just couldn't quite get it done. But we're sitting this evening at a different spot because the wind's wrong for that blind. Last night at this spot, in my Whitetail Institute clover that we have out in front of us here, there were a bunch of does out in that. And then we also had a really nice buck that I've never had pictures of show up. He was bumping does from like 3 o'clock all the way until just before illegal shooting light this morning. So I'm hoping that he's still in the area. He knows there's a bunch of does in the area here. So I'm hoping he comes cruising through looking for a girlfriend, and maybe we'll be able to lay down some good footage, hopefully get a shot. I wasn't on stand long. I heard some noise behind me. I slowly turned around and I could see one of my large shooters pushing some does around, and I was hoping they were going to come my way. Well, we have a single small doe in the food plot right now. And there's a bunch of does back in the bedding area in the thick stuff, just east of me here, which is where that big boy just went. Closest we just had him was at 60 yards, but there was way too much thick stuff to even think about a shot. But he ran back south and then hooked back east. I tried calling at him, but he's someplace back in here, and there's a bunch of does back in there, so a little bit of luck. They'll come out this way to feed. He'll come on a scent check him again and bump him around a bit, and hopefully that happens before dark. I hunted that buck hard over the next few days. Unfortunately, I just could not get him in front of one of my sets again while I was in it. My Spartan cameras were picking up a boatload of pictures of him all over the property, including a couple of them while I was actually on stand, just not at the right spot. Unfortunately for me, I was running out of time. I would have loved to have kept after that deer, but I had a scheduled trip to head out to Oklahoma to see my buddy Jake at Crooked Cut Whitetails. One of the hunts that I look forward to most every year is heading west out to Oklahoma to see my buddy Jake at Crooked Cut Whitetails. Jake has some absolutely mega giant deer running around, and he and his staff do an absolutely phenomenal job of putting their clients on deer. They take a really limited number of hunters. They have a ton of access to a ton of ground, and let's head out to the stand for my first sit to see what'll show up. Well, it's our first evening sit here in Oklahoma with my buddy Jake at Crooked Cut Whitetails. Jake has some absolutely incredible deer running around. A giant third main beam buck hit the dirt this morning. Temperatures are a bit warm, so we're not really anticipating super early movement, but it is that time of year, mid-November. You never know what can pop up at any time. Yesterday driving in, Dean and I actually saw a really nice buck that had cornered a doe that must have been in heat out in one of the winter wheat fields that was just wide open, so never know what can happen. There are some really nice deer on this property. There's a big 10. There's another big mainframe 8. And there's also another one that they call Captain Hook that has beams that swoop up
and a couple extra points at the end of each beam. So a little bit of luck. We'll have something show up. I'm really looking forward to this week. It's probably my favorite trip of the season. And also thanks to my buddy Dean for being behind camera for me. So sit tight. Hopefully we can make something happen. Oh, what an awesome encounter to start our sit. That's an absolutely incredible deer. Just needs a couple years, and he's going to be an absolute mega. It's awesome.
Unfortunately for me, no large mature deer decided to show that evening. Before the end of our sit, we did have a doe family group step out in front of us, but we were really looking forward to day 2 where we were going to be sitting over a water hole, and we're hoping for a big buck or hog to step out.
It's mid-November here in northwest Oklahoma with my buddy Jake at Crooked Cut Whitetails. It's unseasonably warm. We were into the 80s today. It's really subdued movement quite a bit, but it's all about having fun. I've got my buddy Dean on camera here for me, but we're going to try something a little bit unorthodox this evening. We're sitting in a cedar thicket. We are maybe 4.5 or 5 feet off the ground. Brushed in pretty well with these sets that Jake and his crew hung for us. And what we're hoping for, I mean, obviously I had a lot of giant whitetail to show up on this water, but we're really not anticipating movement before dark. But what we are hoping for are hogs, and they have a ton of them. So there's a big group that have been utilizing this water hole recently. It's all rutted out in between us and the water. A little bit of luck, this big group of hogs will show up, and Dean and I will both be able to let arrows go this evening. So stick with us. Should be fun. Pig hunt just turned into a coyote hunt, which originally started as a deer hunt. That was awesome.
After I let the arrow go on that coyote, it wasn't long and we had a few doe step out. Shortly after that, we had a great up-and-comer step out to get a drink.
Well guys, here's our girl. She made it less than 40 yards from that pond there. She just folded over pretty quick. I actually thought she ducked it initially, but we watched it on replay and it was a great shot. She didn't go anyplace. So Lift X definitely did its work on that. Unfortunately, we didn't have any piggies or bucks want to cooperate for us, or any bucks that were large enough, but that was a really incredible sit. Hopefully in the next few days here we'll be able to close on one of these large Oklahoma bucks, but no place I like being more than in Oklahoma here with my buddy Jake at Crooked Cut. So hopefully we'll be able to fill that tag, but it was a great sit. Evening. It's November 19th here in northwest Oklahoma with my buddy Jake at Crooked Cut Whitetails. Unfortunately for us, timing's a bit off. I think a lot of these mature deer just locked down and they're making it really difficult to get on one right now. Jake's got a freakish number of big deer running around. Unfortunately, they're all with does. So we changed it up for tonight. We're sitting a spot that a new deer moved into. He daylighted yesterday, actually. So we know he's someplace in the cedar thicket, most likely bumping does around. Just need some luck and have him come by. The other thing about this spot, there's a freakish number of hogs. We actually got a photo, or I should say Jake got a photo last night of a ton of hogs at the spot daylighting. So we're going to sit out this evening. If a hog steps out, we're going to let an arrow loose. If a nice buck comes out, we're also letting an arrow loose. So fingers are crossed. Hopefully we'll get to let an arrow go tonight. We'll talk about a target-rich environment, guys. We had all the hogs come in. Unfortunately, we didn't have camera light. So we had Dean hold a red light, which is legal here in Oklahoma. And I made the shot at probably just over 20 yards, and I absolutely smoked this pig. So it was some of the most fun I've had. I can't wait to recover this pig. The funny thing is, this place is just incredible with how many different critters there are running around. The whitetails aren't working out for us because of lockdown and temperatures and stuff, but we are still having a blast. So we're going to go recover this pig here and see you guys on the recovery. Yep. All right, guys. Well, here's our hog. It unfortunately, like I said, it didn't work out that we had camera light to get it on film, but they have so many of these hogs running around. Jake had asked, you know, if we let one go, if we saw them. I mean, there was probably 50 hogs, and this is just such a target-rich environment down here. It's so much fun. Between the coyotes and the hogs and the whitetails running around, we still have one day left, so you know, a little bit of luck, we will have a whitetail cooperate for us tomorrow morning. Big storm's supposed to roll in, but this was an absolute blast. Thank you, Jake and Crooked Cut Whitetails, for putting on this hog, and hopefully we'll be able to punch our whitetail tag.
Well, I've been blessed the last 2 seasons to take 2 great bucks with my buddy Jake out of Crooked Cut there. Unfortunately, this season was just not meant to be. We had a lot of factors that were working against us. The temperatures were in the low to mid 80s most days. Then we had some rain move in for the last day of our hunt. We're also dealing with the lockdown phase where those big boys were just not on their feet cruising looking, which made it extremely difficult. But we did still have an incredibly fun week. I had a great time with my buddy Dean in the stand with me. And we were also able to put down that coyote and that big hog, which was a first for me. So I will definitely be back to Oklahoma next year. I just want to wish you guys all the best of luck, shoot straight, and make sure to tune into our next episode if you want to see how my season played out.